Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. I was reminded today how in between the solstice and Christmas is the 3 days of darkness before the sun rises anew. The real astrological explanation for Christmas, the rising star. And it is dark energies that we're playing around with. Shadow work is front and center in this time of the year when a lot of expectation, obligation, and darkness for a lot of people. Christmas has never been a happy time of the year for me. It is memories of a lot of masking, a lot of pretending, a lot of stress. It's a stressful time of the year for a lot of people. And for those that have a very light and bright Christmas season, hey, that's wonderful. But the role of the light worker is to go into the shadows. More and more, I identify myself as a shadow worker more than a light worker, even though they're kind of one and the same, because where light is needed most is in the darkness. And that's to expose within us our shadows. And shadows certainly are getting exposed for me. My last video, I was talking a bit about the abandonment wound. And I want to go a little bit further and a little bit deeper into that, because part of the abandonment wound, and something that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about, is the need to be wanted that goes hand in hand with an abandonment wound. Because as a mammalian species, we have a need of connection. We have a need of being wanted for our very survival. So being wanted is interconnected with our ability to live, to function, to grow, to thrive. And if you have deep wounds from trauma that can originate as early as pregnancy, because not all pregnancies were wanted, and whether parents were aware of it or not, most likely not, the fact is, as soon as there was life in the womb, there was consciousness. And there, in that consciousness, you're swimming in a soup of, I don't want you. You're not wanted. This was a mistake. Now what am I going to do? Oh, my life is over. And so I, according to my adoption records, my birth parents were very young, unmarried when the pregnancy occurred. And I don't know if they were in their teens or early 20s, but it was definitely an unwanted pregnancy. So I've been swimming in the energy of unwanted since my moment of conception. And that further then went on in my first couple of years, which was, moving here, moving there, moving somewhere else, and then finally being put into foster care at about the age of 2-ish. And then eventually being adopted at the age of 2.5, 3. And so there's a secondary wound on top of the first wound. And that need of being wanted from an adoptive point of view is like, if I'm not wanted, then I'm not going to get adopted. And then so it's further embedded into your DNA, into your memory on a not a mental memory, on a physical, on a spiritual level, even more so. And then you go through life desperate for people to want you. And for me, that was relationship, not just romantic, but even friendship. Am I wanted? Please want me. Please like me. Please don't reject me. And those types of energies became life or death. If somebody didn't want me, it was like, it was like a death of 1,000 deaths. And so I've had relationships in my life where I so desperately wanted somebody, and it was unreciprocated, and there was longing, and there was aching, and it was torturous. And then along comes this twin flame situationship, which is arguably the most painful situationship you can possibly fathom. I still to this day don't know why anyone would seek this out, because it's not a relationship. It's a situationship that pokes and prods at all of your wounds, every single last one of them. And so I've talked a little bit about, how I felt towards this person. But what I haven't talked about, because in a lot of ways I don't know, but what was returned, what was reciprocated was, I don't want you. It front and center of I don't want you. And they left my life completely and utterly. And there's been zero contact. And as people who are on this crazy journey know, that's called separation. And in this time of separation, even though there's no contact physically, energetically, you're still being poked and prodded routinely. There's no kind of forgetting this this person. And so all of a sudden, you'll be carrying on with life and memory comes up. And what's been coming up for me is this whole notion of not being wanted by this person, and how devastating it felt to me. And the more I sat in the not being wanted, I saw, here it is again. This is just reflecting my own wounds throughout my life, of every time throughout my life I've been in the energy of not being wanted, whether it be that unplanned pregnancy or that infancy that it was decided that I should be put up for adoption, or not being wanted for who I was and had to conform to a narcissistic mother's role of me in order to survive. And so that's when we learn coping mechanisms. And when I say coping mechanisms, I really think that we need to rephrase that to survival mechanisms. We learn strategies in order to survive, in order to get fed, in order to keep a roof over our heads, because it's survival, it's life and death. If your tribe rejects you. Now, I was rejected emotionally, I was rejected psychologically, but I wasn't rejected physically. But my nervous system didn't understand that. My nervous system knew that if I didn't adhere to the rules within the household, that there was no survival outside of the household as a 3-year-old or as a 5-year-old. So you adapt as best as you can, and that adaptation is maladaptive, but it's survival. It is 100% survival, and then you carry with you this wound for the rest of your life, just wanting to be wanted. There's a song by One Republic called "Wanted." It's a good song, and is it One Republic? It might not be. I'll have to put the link to that song, but there's a line and it goes, I just wanted to be wanted. And I keep hearing that kind of in my mind's ear, so to speak, over and over again, that song. And that's how I played out the majority of my life, is just wanting to be wanted. And so in that, we tolerate relationships that are less than we deserve because we just want to be wanted. And if somebody's showing us that they want us in some capacity, even if it's a negative capacity, it's better than the absence of being wanted. It's better than being rejected. Only it's not. And so today I've been doing a lot of EFT, emotional freedom technique, the tapping. And I don't know if you know about the tapping. If you haven't tried tapping, maybe it's worth throwing it out there. In learning to just love and accept myself fully in the not being wanted. So in the tapping, it's like I fully love and accept myself, even though I wasn't wanted. Even though I'm not wanted. And now I'm at an age where being wanted needs to be pulled apart from survival, because I don't need somebody to want me in order to survive. Even though my nervous system seems to think that there's an interconnection there, the reality of it is, as Spirit has shown me through this time of utter isolation and hermiting, I have the capacity to survive completely and utterly on my own, without relationship, without friendships all around me. You know, I'm blessed to have friends, but none of them are local to me. I live very hermited. If it wasn't for my soul kids, I'd see no humans at all, and I'd be okay. I'd be okay, and I'm okay not being wanted. And this is a different flavor than being okay with being disliked or not being liked. Not being wanted means being completely pushed out and rejected from your tribe, which I have been. So I survive anyways. So I'm almost in a weird kind of gratitude energy right now for that twin situationship, you know, them not wanting me, my family not respecting or wanting me, my friends in the past rejecting and not wanting me, relationship in the past that I've wanted and rejected and they walked away from me. I'm still alive. I'm still here. I've survived not being wanted. And I love and accept myself even though I'm not wanted. So that's pretty big and heavy energies for me to be transmuting. And now I'm not saying that nobody on the planet wants me. I'm saying there have been times in my life, fundamental times in my life, where people who meant the absolute world to me didn't want me. And I think a lot of people have this wound. There's certainly a long history of unplanned pregnancies out there. So that may have been an energy that you carried with you and you were marinated in your pregnancy without even being aware of it. There are many children that have been put up for adoption that didn't feel the energy of being wanted. There are many children that were raised in families where they weren't really wanted. They may have been tolerated, and children may have been allowed to exist in the home. And yeah, maybe your basic needs were provided for, like food, shelter. But your emotional needs weren't, because you weren't wanted. I don't have time for you. I don't want you in my space. Go to your room. Leave me alone. I'm enjoying company with the adults. I don't want you, you know? So there's a lot of and then maybe at school going off and experiencing, you know, a desire to be part of a group of people so desperately and being either bullied or rejected. So the not wanted wound is similar in to the abandonment wound, but it's slightly different. It's got a different vibe to it, and to transmute it means accepting ourselves even though others may not want us. Accepting ourselves and having our right to exist and our survival not be threatened because others have chosen to not value your place in their lives. And I think it's probably a trigger for a lot of people who are specifically on this twin flame situationship, as I've said, because if it's par for the course that there's going to be a period of separation, there's going to be one of the two, probably the divine feminine energy, that has the not wanted wound and the not feeling wanted. And so it's almost a blessing in disguise. And it was the Dalai Lama that said, sometimes not getting what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck. And so I am in actual gratitude that they didn't want me. I am in gratitude that they did abandon me and choose their own path in their own life that didn't have anything to do with me, because it gave me the opportunity to have this trigger in this moment so that I could face this energy of what it feels like to be not wanted and pull apart the connection of survival with not being wanted, and understand that I cannot be wanted and I can survive. I can thrive. I can move on. Life can change. I can adapt. I can transmute. I can heal. It's not, and that's where the healing is, because when there's a wound and we keep that wound plugged in to an energetic zoom, and then somehow we manage to face it, go into the shadow and unplug it, it no longer has a charge. It no longer has effectiveness. So even if in the future, I met anyone and I wanted them to be in my life and they didn't want the same, I would be like, yeah, okay. I'll survive that too. Because the electrical charge is gone. So I'm grateful, although it's an odd sensation to have that unplugged when it was at play for so long in my life. So I'm challenging all of you out there today to use this mantra as often as you can, of I fully love and accept myself even though I'm unwanted. See how that sits with you. See how that resonates with you. See how that affects you. If purges come, that's fantastic. And if it's just a matter of reprogramming with a higher level of conscious awareness, that's good too. The more we can alchemize and clear out the power that these old programs and these old wounds and these old traumas held over us, the more whole and independent we become. I'm so grateful for being a hermit. I'm so grateful for being unwanted. It's a weird and wonderful thing. If you struggle with this one, And you've been in the energy your whole life of like, I want them to like me. I want them to care. I want them to this. Why can't they this? Longing, grieving, grasping. And you're trying desperately to let go of it. And you want some extra help to talk about it. We can certainly set up a one-on-one. That being said, I'm sending you all my love in these very dark days. Keep going. Keep breathing. Keep doing the work. It is making a difference. Little bits by little bits, it's making a difference. And, this season shall pass just like all years before. And love, love, love. Thank you, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the supers, the donations, the Christmas wishes, and Christmas wishes back to you. May we all ascend out of the dark into the light. Peace out.